The Cabin is brought to you by the Wisconsin Counties Association, and this week we're featuring Barron County. Whether you're a nature lover, an outdoor enthusiast, or just searching for a peaceful getaway, Barron County has something for everyone. Barron County is located in northwest Wisconsin. It was first created in 1859, actually called Dallas County, named after Vice President George M. Dallas. Then it was renamed in 1869, honoring Wisconsin lawyer Henry D. Barron. Barron is home to many lakes, offering outdoor opportunities for fishing, boating, and kayaking. The beautiful Red Cedar River is perfect for a relaxing paddle, and if you love hitting the trails, you'll find miles of scenic hiking, biking, and snowmobiling routes that showcase Wisconsin's breathtaking natural beauty year-round. Barron County is filled with vibrant small towns like Rice Lake, Barron, which is the county seat, and Cumberland, where you can enjoy farm-to-table dining, explore unique local shops, and historic landmarks. For more, visit wicounties.org.
The Cabin is also brought to you by the WCA Group Health Trust. Serving local governments and school districts, the WCA Group Health Trust partners closely with members to fulfill their employee health benefit obligations in a fiscally responsible manner. Learn more at wcaght.org.
Welcome back to the Cabin Podcast. I'm Andrea Belke.
And I'm Megan Christian.
And today we are talking all things spring. I'm so excited because spring is my favorite season.
Yes, so we are here with our ultimate guide to spring, me and Andrea, and our special guest today is Jake Rome. You guys might recognize Jake. He has been on the Cabin Podcast before as a host, so we're happy to have you back.
Happy to be here, guys. Love what you did with the place.
Thank you. A little cozier. And Jake's actually from California, guys, so this is going to be a little bit of learning for him, too.
Yeah, are you a big spring guy?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't really know what spring was until I moved out here because California is kind of perpetually just, a kind of one season deal. So I've really learned to love it. I mean, it's just nice coming out of kind of the brown, cold, and then you start seeing the birds come out. It's great.
We suffer for so long.
We do.
I've learned to really love the seasons, especially spring, because it starts to get warmer. The flowers start blooming. Kind of is this peak into the warm weather. But I feel like we all know in Wisconsin, there's always spring, then there's back to winter. Then there's fake spring, back to winter. So it does get a little frustrating.
I know. My favorite part is having longer days with the sun and just like hearing the birds chirping in the morning, because you go all winter without that and it's just kind of depressing and cold. So, but there's so many different things to do in Wisconsin in spring, so I think we should just hop right into it.
Yeah, I think one of the big things is hiking, getting outside.
Yes.
And I recently went on a hike. It's in Ozaukee County, Lion's Den Gorge. Yeah, it's beautiful. The thing is I went and I didn't check the weather, so it was actually snowing. So so it was like
more of a winter.
Yeah, so as I was on this hike, I'm like, all right, this is going to be so beautiful in a month.
Right? Well, there's one in my hometown in Oconomowoc. There's the Oconomowoc Lake Loop, which is more of like a walk, not so much a hike, but that's really cool because you can see all the historic homes around. There's a ton of things to do downtown. You can go grab a coffee. I think we have like 3 or 4 coffee shops down there now. There's so much to do there. And they also have a nature preserve by my house, which I saw the northern lights there for the first time ever. Whoa. It was so cool. But in the spring, it like blossoms with all these pretty flowers and stuff. So I think that's really cool. But another place that I love to go is Devil's Lake. Have you guys been there?
Yes. Big fan.
A 360-acre lake, 29 miles of hiking along the Ice Age National Trail, which, Jake, I want you to tell us a little bit about it because you're doing an episode and you're going to have to kind of become the expert on this.
Well, I mean, just to start, Devil's Lake is awesome, especially being from California. The only thing I do really miss are just hills and such. So to go to Devil's Lake, to have that elevation and just see such gorgeous scenery is awesome. And what's cool about the Ice Age Trail, that's just one of countless spots that you can kind of see out through the state. Like you said, we're actually working on an Ice Age Trail episode together, which I'm really excited about.
I'm so excited.
I mean, the whole thing is, I want to say 1,200 miles, and it goes all the way from Sturgeon Bay to St. Croix Falls. So that's like across from east to west. 60 plus communities are all involved, and they have things you could do along the trail. There's like 600 plus miles of foot-marked paths, and also there's some that are paved. There's some boardwalks. Like, it's really fascinating, and you could go on the whole thing. I think if you want to through hike it, it takes anywhere from 7 to 12 weeks. And there are people that through hike it all the time. I'm not going to be one of those people.
Well, someone just did it in the winter.
The girl that did it in the winter, Emily Ford. So in the winter of 2021, she solo hiked in the winter time, went all the way through Ice Age Trail. It's incredible, especially when you're thinking about how cold that is. But it's something that you can either do a through hike or just do portions of it and then come back to it later. Yeah. And then when it goes to St. Croix Falls, you're in Interstate State Park, which is the oldest state park in Wisconsin.
Oh, nice.
Which I think is really cool. Yeah, that was founded in 1900.
Wow.
So there's a lot of really cool historic sites along the trail. So I think, if you're in Wisconsin and you haven't done it, that would be a really great thing to check out.
Yeah, and that's why I'm excited to take on this project. And this is something that, we'd love to hear your guys' input on what are the most beautiful spots to go check out, because I'm still actively making this episode.
Yeah.
So, I'd love any kind of feedback on what to see, certain unique spots, because it's all, the glaciers that came and went through the trail 12,000 years ago.
Kind of left their mark on the areas.
Yeah, and
really
I'd be
cool.
so curious, where should we go see? What is there to do? Because it seems like there's endless opportunities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, and it's one of 11 national scenic trails in the country, which is really cool that one of those is in Wisconsin.
Nick, you're kind of a hiker, right?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, what has been some of your favorite hikes that you've had?
So there is the Glacier Drumlin Trail, where there's a straight shot from Cottage Grove Road area, downtown Cottage Grove, all the way to Lake Mills, and it's straight. And it's a bike path, and it's in a tunnel of tree canopies.
Whoa.
And I rode my bike the whole way, no hands. I was just seeing how far I could go.
What?
Just kept going.
That's kind of fun, though, because you...
Actually, I got to Deerfield. I didn't get to Lake Mills.
Okay, you
but
liar.
It was a long ways. I went back, so it was the same distance, down and back.
Yeah.
Hadn't been to Lake Mills.
You can ride your bike with no handlebars.
Yep, caused a lot of car accidents, but
Okay.
just kidding.
Nick,
Joking.
cut that out.
Cut that.
I think that's great. You have hiking, biking. What's your favorite thing about hiking? Is it seeing animals? Is it just getting out? Do you like doing hard hikes, leisurely hikes?
So me and Jake have been on a 4-mile hike together, and let me tell you, it was not a fun one, Andrea, but the views are my favorite part of hikes. The view made it worth it.
We went and hiked on Basswood Island, one of the Apostle Islands, for a short we did. And to your point, hikes can always be difficult.
Right.
But any hike in the dead of summer and mosquito season, that just makes it brutal. So
we drenched ourselves in bug spray, and it still didn't help.
Yeah, so I would say definitely go in the morning before they kind of go crazy, or
in the spring before the mosquitoes are out.
Or in the spring.
Exactly.
That's one thing
Basswood
about
Island would be a great hike in the spring, actually.
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't always think about hiking in April because it does seem a little early and the weather is kind of dodgy. But I like it because I feel like you beat the crowds, you beat the mosquitoes.
You do.
I'm really lucky because I have whatever blood type the mosquitoes don't
Me
enjoy.
too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
So they don't bite you.
Nope,
Yeah.
never get bitten.
No, mosquitoes don't bite me.
Wow.
Bite Megan.
Yeah.
Well, Jake can attest that they bite me because it was bad.
Some people get totally eaten up, but I, for
Yeah.
some reason, can swerve them. I forget which blood type it is, but
Dang. Well, I
with you.
don't have that, but
I
I
have sour blood or something.
maybe. Yeah, they don't like you. Well, another one that I've heard is really cool in the spring, which I haven't been to. It's on my bucket list, but Copper Falls. It's up near Mellon in Ashland County, but it's all of the waterfalls freeze in the winter, so in the spring they start rushing really fast.
Ooh.
And it's supposed to be really cool to see. I was just talking with Mary McFetridge on this in Ashland County, and she was like, yeah, you have to go see it in the spring because it's supposed to be amazing. Have you been there at all?
Not Copper Falls, but I've been to Big Manitou Falls, which
That's
is
also on my list.
yeah,
here.
which is the tallest waterfall in Wisconsin, 165 feet. That's in Pattison State Park in Superior.
Okay.
So I went there for an episode, and it's beautiful. It's cool that there's waterfalls in Wisconsin. I think a lot of people don't realize that all the time.
I know. There's so many up north. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so that one, if you're ever up in Superior area, it's a must see. And then they have Pattison State Park. You can hike around there and then see the waterfall, and it's absolutely stunning.
Yeah. Another given, I think, in Wisconsin, which I still haven't been to, Kohler Andreas State Park. And that is supposed to be amazing. It's right along Lake Michigan, but it's pretty during all seasons. You can bike on their boardwalk. You can just take a nice leisurely walk. Yeah, that's a Wisconsin staple, definitely on my bucket list. And I love Lake Michigan. It's my favorite Great Lake because I went to college on it.
Well, something else. So I think hikes are great. Also, springtime, the blossoms. I think Door County is amazing. Going to Door County in April, actually, I think is really nice because you beat the crowds because Door County gets really packed. Not all the businesses are open yet. A lot of businesses open in May, but you can do the trolley blossom tours, which I think would be really cool. You can see the cherry blossoms. And so they do these tours. It's every Saturday in April and May. And you can see the blossoms, you can get on a horse-drawn carriage, wine tasting, lunch. So I think that's a really good opportunity for people to get out there. And then, of course, you can go to the caves and the state park.
Well, I haven't been to the cherry blossom tour, but I went to this lavender farm up in Washington Island in Door County, and that was like really pretty too. So if anyone's into the lavender stuff, that would be a good thing to hit also. You wanted to talk about maple syrup a little bit. And you're like the pro on this, so I want you to educate me.
Okay, well, so growing up, we spent so much time out in the woods collecting maple syrup or collecting sap that is made into maple syrup. Do you know anything about the process?
I know what you like tap a tree, right? And then it comes out. That's as far as I know.
Yeah, so on my grandma's land, we tap trees. And so you go out, you tap the trees, the maple trees that are the right age, and then the goal is that when it freezes overnight, that's when the taps run. And so then you go out, you collect all the sap.
Okay.
And just growing up, when you're even just 10 years old or even younger, you're carrying these really heavy buckets. You feel really tough. Like me and my sister would take like a stick between us to carry one bucket to try to like drag it to the big tub that you dump it in. So then it gets filtered, boiled down, and then it becomes maple syrup. It's 40 gallons of sap to 1 gallon of maple syrup. So it's a lot of work to make maple syrup.
Wow. So you said when it freezes over, is that so you work on it in the wintertime and then come like spring, you have this big supply of maple syrup or like?
So it freezes. So basically you tap the trees. At night it freezes.
Gotcha.
And then because it freezes and it thaws, that's why the sap runs.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So you can every season is a different amount of length depending on the weather, but you want it to freeze at night. So then the morning everything will run.
Gotcha.
So we make maple syrup. Everything's happening right now. It's probably going to be over soon because just once it gets really warm and it doesn't freeze, then it stops. But I was looking up and I thought it was kind of cool because there's a lot of places throughout Wisconsin that do maple syrup, and there's actually a maple syrup fest in Phelps in Vilas County. So that's April 5th. So this episode's coming out 1st of April. So if you're looking for something to do, if you're up north, April 5th is the Maple Syrup Fest in Phelps. And there's tree tapping demos, cooking demos with maple syrup, maple cafe. And I think it's kind of a cool way to celebrate maple syrup in Wisconsin because it is a big deal here. And once you have the good maple syrup, you can't go back.
Yeah. Well, I don't really eat syrup on anything, but I think the process is like
really? You don't pancakes?
No, more
waffles?
like a powdered sugar girl. The pancakes and fruit.
I've avoided it because I've been up north. I've been in Vilas County.
Yeah.
I've gone to places that, it's a couple extra bucks to get that good syrup. And I don't want to do it because when I go back down south and it's harder to come by, I don't want to have to go back to the store-bought high fructose corn syrup and all that. So it's kind of like, I don't know, do I open the floodgates? I'm going to have to go to your farm, Andrea, and get some of your syrup.
If you're really nice to me, I can get you some.
Okay, noted.
The thing is, though, because it's so much work, you would think my parents would just give me gallons of maple syrup, but they don't.
I mean, that's fair. It's
like
a
I
lie.
have to
You gotta
buy
work
it.
for it. Yeah.
Or if I spend a lot of time in the woods, they'll give me some. But yeah, it's not cheap.
Okay, good
but
to know.
It's so
I want
good.
to go.
Yeah.
I want to go with you.
We could take the cabin out to the woods.
Okay, little field trip. Nice.
For transport.
Another thing in the woods that I'm really excited about is morel mushroom hunting. So I always miss it because it's a short amount of time, late March kind of through May, but it depends, like every season's different. It's also dependent on soil temperature. So the soil temperature has to be around 50 to 60 degrees Fahrenheit. And a lot of times if it rains and then the next day a bunch will sprout up, but then it only takes like 10 to 12, maybe 15 days for it to mature. So it's kind of a short window you have to find them.
Interesting. I heard they're really good too. Like I heard they're tasty.
Pan fry them in some butter. Ooh, boy.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Always.
And there's a festival for everything. Morel Fest in Muscadet, that is May 16th through 17th. And it's it's like this big festival where people bring their morels in. There's contests for the biggest morel mushroom, the smallest morel mushroom, the biggest cluster.
Nice.
And there's people walking around in morel outfits.
Are you going to go?
I might. There's a parade. You can go and buy morel mushrooms. But people are really secretive about where they get their batches of morels from.
Oh,
Makes
I'm
sense,
sure. They
yeah.
don't want them cleared out.
Because once you find those good spots, you don't want everyone else coming there.
That makes sense.
All right, fishing, Megan?
I feel that I need to address some controversy. Guys, I don't hate fishing. I just don't like fish. They just freak me out a little bit. Jake, in the first episode, we were talking about fishing, and everyone seemed to thought that I hate fishing.
Look, girl, this is the wrong podcast to not like fishing. I gotta say, so
No,
you gotta
I
get it
like
right with our
fishing.
fans.
No, I like fishing. My grandpa's a fishing guide. Like, I grew up fishing. It's just the actual fish, the act of holding it, freaks me out a little bit.
You work for Discover Wisconsin.
I know.
You're gonna have to.
I'd gladly go fishing, though. That's the thing. I love to
All
fish.
right, so I'm taking it that in future productions, I need to get you fishing more, and I'll write into the script,
Hey,
Megan
that's
holds
fine.
up trophy
No,
fish.
no.
So our fans can know
I'll hold
that
it with the little holder thing. My grandpa has this thing that you hold it
Fish.
with. It like
She's gonna
pinches it so that I don't have to touch it. What? This is a common
we'll
thing?
get her comfortable with fishing.
Yeah, you gotta get comfortable with that.
We'll see.
But what kind of event do we got?
Okay, well, basically, just fishing season openers is typically the first Saturday in May, so it will be shortly after this episode airs. But there's so many different places that you can go fishing. My grandpa has a few hidden gems. I'm not going to spoil them because it'll get rid of all the walleye. But
I mean, there's so many lakes, there's so many rivers. I actually do fish. I have a fishing pole at my place in Milwaukee, and I go out in the Milwaukee River.
I love
wouldn't-
that.
I wouldn't really eat those
I was
fish,
gonna say,
No,
don't eat that
I don't know
fish.
that I would
Don't.
eat those ones.
but it became my personality a couple summers ago. And no, it was like me and my worms on the Milwaukee River.
Just you and your worm.
And, like,
You
a
and your
lot of, like,
worms.
older dudes. Like, I was always like eyeing them up, being like, what do they know that I don't? Obviously a lot. But they were just reeling in all these fish, and I'm sitting out there just reeling. No, I don't know. I am out there on the river fishing.
That's hilarious. I'm just picturing
love
you with
that.
like a PBR
Right.
tall boy in a bag. You're just going up like, what up, brothers? Go reel today or what? And it's like, what? Who aren't you on Survivor?
It's a way to meet people too, because if you walk around Milwaukee with a fishing pole, people are gonna ask you what you're up to. But it was, yeah, I walk around down by the Oak Leaf Trail. I walk to a fishing spot, and I have yet to catch a fish, and it's been 2 summers, but it's gonna happen this summer. I feel it.
Fishing at the Milwaukee River. I'll be there with Andrea.
Come out! I'm telling you, it's fun.
It would be fun. It would be a sight to behold for sure. Try to find us on the Milwaukee River most Saturdays this week.
Okay, but is there anything on your bucket list for this Wisconsin spring?
Ooh, great question. I mean, the Ice Age Trail, like we're going to Algoma. I still haven't been to Door County. So to what you were saying, maybe I make a spring trip, go before it gets busy, just to see all that, to get myself some cherry brandy.
Yeah.
Or is it cherry moonshine? That
They have everything.
They have everything.
Cherry everything. I want to do that, and I do just want to spend more time up in like Ashland and Bayfield, because it's really pretty up there, and it just feels like a whole different place, you know. So I guess just getting outside and
Yeah, I mean, they call Sheboygan the Malibu of the Midwest, but like up in Ashland, that's genuinely like looks like the East Coast up there. It looks like Maine. It's insane.
Well,
that rhymed.
you're a sports guy, right?
Yeah,
Have you been to a
I like
Brewers game?
baseball.
yeah, I've been to a Brewers game. Bucks games are a blast. I love
Yeah.
Deer District. It's just such a fun part of town. Brewers games are great. Even in our backyard, the Madison Muskies. Or no, sorry,
Mallards,
that's my adult
right?
league team that, come watch our game.
Yeah, go watch Jake play baseball.
Yeah, no, but the Mallards games are a lot of fun too. Just like being in that atmosphere, like spring sports when it's warm again, it's just so nice. you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I love going to Brewers games. I think that's a perfect spring
too.
activity because season opened the 31st. So, I mean,
31st for the Brewers, 27th for like MLB.
Yeah.
But yeah. It's great in the spring too at American Family Field. Gotta say that. I can't say Miller Park anymore. But it's great there because if it's raining, which it happens to do in spring, the roof closes. You don't gotta worry about it. And it's awesome. You can still stay dry, enjoy your time. Well, over in Deer District, Andrea, you had a little event going on there. Do you want
oh
to talk
yeah,
about
there's
that?
Doggy Day.
Yeah.
Dog-
So
Doggy
I
Day.
saw this last year, and I kind of stumbled upon it. But Doggy Day, it's April 12th, And so it's their 4th year doing it, but it's basically this festival that like you can bring your dogs out. There's 60 to 80 vendors, a DJ, and it's just like a great way to celebrate dogs if you're a dog lover. And it's all for, you have the notes there, is it Winston's?
It is for Winston's Wishes.
Yeah, Winston's Wishes.
Yes.
Who Winston was a dog who unfortunately passed away. But basically what they do is they take care of dogs that need extra care from Matic and then older dogs. So it's for a really good cause. And so that's April 12th, and it's just right by Deer District. And I think it's kind of a cool little thing to go to, especially if you have a dog or just love to see dogs out and about. And then, of course, farmers markets start to open up as well.
Oh, I love farmers markets. That is probably my favorite thing to do in the spring and summer, to be honest. In Kenosha, they have the Kenosha Harbor Market, which is really cool because it's right on Lake Michigan. And since I went to college there, we would go all the time and just get fresh flowers, brighten up the dorm room a little bit, you know? But that's definitely something you guys should go to if you haven't been. Have you gone? Because you...
Not to that one, but I've been to the West Bend Farmers Market. That starts 3rd weekend in May, and that's a great one. It's that one's huge, too.
Yeah.
It is huge. It is huge. They have farmers markets all over Wisconsin.
I think farmers markets are great. You can't find better produce, and you're supporting local. I think that's fantastic. Like, support your local farmers. Get some yummy stuff. You know?
They have a lot of good stuff there, and just getting like a nice cup of coffee to walk around with. That's up your alley.
Yeah, I'm obsessed
Caffeine
with... Yeah,
addict.
well, coffee shops are my favorite thing in the world. But when it starts to be spring, I switch from my hot coffee to my cold brew.
There you go.
So that's kind of where I'm at right now. I haven't switched quite yet. But the day I switch, I don't go back.
Yeah, you can't go back.
It's like Groundhog Day. It's like the day Andrew switches, it's spring.
You have to commit.
It's true, though.
You have to commit. All right. Do we have anything else on the list there? Otherwise, we could do our little game.
Oh, we're playing a little game.
I think we should play our game.
All right. So this is our little game. It's called Spring or Fling.
Oh.
So it's
Okay.
ideas for a spring bucket list. And you're going to pick them out. And you're going to say if you want to spring, meaning like you're springing for it. Yes.
Okay.
Or fling it. You don't want to do it this
Yeah.
spring.
Okay,
I
is this
think we
like...
should do it where we go down the line, each pick one out, and
Okay.
then we all say if we should.
All right.
would do it.
Spring or fling? Cliff jumping in Door County.
Me?
Yeah.
Spring.
Okay. I'm
I'm on the edge.
I'm gonna say spring with. There's a caveat though. It does seem kind of dangerous
That's where I'm at.
because I've been there at the Cave Point Park. And,
Yes, that's where it is.
And when people are jumping in, it does seem like you really need to be careful about the water levels.
Good to know.
I do love cliff jumping though, in general. Like I've done it in Hawaii, and I love when it's like when you know, like okay, it's definitely safe.
Yeah.
But I don't know how safe the one in Door County is.
Okay, that's good to know because people should check that before you go jumping off random cliffs.
So please don't like hear this and then go do it.
But if it's
Also-
safe, spring.
Also in Lake Michigan, like sometimes it's a little shallow, so you gotta be careful. I would spring if it's safe.
Yeah.
If it's safe.
Respectable.
Okay. Cold plunge, spring or fling?
Spring.
Spring.
Spring. And we need to go to Peter Cross Fitness to go do that soon.
Yeah. And you can also just jump into Lake Michigan too.
Yeah, like right
Right.
now is the right time when it's still pretty cold.
Yep,
I mean,
hot spell sauna.
Yeah, a lot of health benefits to it.
Yes.
sweet. All right, guys. Spring or fling? Run a half marathon.
Fling it.
Fling it far away.
Fling. Like it would probably be a good thing to do. I don't want to do it.
Nick, would you spring or fling the half marathon?
Spring for sure.
You're gonna
Really?
Nick would. Yeah, we go to the gym sometimes. I could see him springing that.
Have you done it? Oh, but maybe you would.
No, I just recently started running. I used to hate it. It's it's not the best thing ever still, but it's I find it very rewarding, and I was told about this runner high that I'm still seeking out. So
You just gotta
Get
run
far
until
enough.
you get it.
Keep pushing.
I don't know if that's real because
I think it's real.
Well,
It's real.
I haven't had it. I prepared for a half marathon last summer and I tweaked my knee the week before. But I got to 12 miles. I still never felt this runner's high.
See, one of my best friends, she runs D1 at Minnesota. She talks about it all the time.
It's not like a high. If you're gonna compare it to having like a few PBRs and feeling good, it's not like this. Like whoa, I feel great. It's more of like I think you run far enough and then you kind of get into this zone where you don't feel the pain as much, and you're kind of just like tunnel vision. Oh, I'm running. This feels right and normal, and it doesn't hurt as much.
I mean, maybe I did have the runner's high. I just didn't know it.
Yeah.
You're like, it's not.
I think I was waiting for maybe a little more.
You were looking for a runner's drunk.
I mean, if I ran 12 miles, you'd think that maybe I had the runner's high, but it's hard for me not to just still hate every moment of running.
No, I agree.
So I probably won't be doing a half marathon this spring.
Understood. All right, am I passing this to Nick, or is this coming back to you?
You can do one more.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then
do
pass
one
it
more.
back.
Thanks. Wow, I like it.
We're so nice to you.
All right. Spring or fling? Spring gardening.
Spring.
The actual act of doing it or going to pick out flowers?
No, you're doing it.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're
doing it. Getting your hand-
Fling. I got bad knees.
Oh, you could get at your age.
And a horrible back, too, actually. I do.
You do need to be fishing more often, then that'll be the safe activity for
the
you.
safe
I
activity.
mean, you could get some of those planters that are
flowers, though. And actually, when I was in college, I used to plant like a little seed in a little pot to see if I could get it to grow, because it's rewarding seeing something grow.
Yeah, I'm gonna fling. I've got a few house plants, but I live in an apartment. Like, I've got a cat to take care of. I don't need to add.
Yeah, you have a house.
Yeah, well, and my mom has a big garden, so I love going up and visiting her and then gardening. And I love pulling weeds. It's so therapeutic. There's something about it.
Really?
Oh, yeah, I love it.
I used to love picking like dandelions as a kid, and my dad would be so happy because I'm like getting the weeds out of the yard.
You know, another thing to look out for in the spring is asparagus on the side of the road.
Oh, really?
Because asparagus start growing probably, I would say, April-ish. But if you look on the side of the road, sometimes you can find asparagus patches. We have a few on our farm. And so you can go collect them and you just kind of break them off and then they'll grow back for a few rounds.
I had green onion growing in my backyard and I didn't know what it was. And then I showed it to my mom. She's like, let me smell it.
We're basically gardeners without
without actually
Great job,
doing the work.
ladies. Nice.
All right. I know what both of you are going to say this. Skydiving, spring or fling?
Spring. Nice. Yeah, I've been trying to do it for a long time.
We're going to have you do it, Jake, for an episode.
Yeah.
All right, I'm sold.
And I'm going to watch you guys from the ground because I'm flinging that far away. I'm not an adrenaline
So
junkie.
am I gonna be like your body double? Am I gonna get like a blonde wig and jump out and be like, oh my god?
Yeah, we'll have to cut that out so they don't know, guys. It's me in the air. Don't worry.
Well, I want to do it. I want to feature Skydive Midwest. My sister's a solo skydiver, and so she
Nice.
jumps out of planes by herself. She's probably done 150 jumps now.
Dang.
She's way cooler than I could ever be. But she does Skydive Midwest, so I thought it'd be cool. We do an episode. We talk before we skydive and interview somebody from there, and then we jump, and then we do the after. And so if Megan's not going to do it, you can be
Sorry,
our
guys. I hate to be boring, but I just am not up to risk my life like that.
No, to be fair,
I'll risk my
nobody should be forcing anyone to skydive. I remember when
Andrea texts me. She goes, "So would you skydive?" And I was like, "Yeah, no."
Yeah, and I can't force you to jump out of a plane, and it's too much pressure
literally.
on me. All right,
Okay.
spring or fling, bird watching. Wow, the deep thinking.
Maybe a time or two. I'm gonna spring it.
I'm gonna soft spring because I don't know that I'm gonna go out and like make a day of it. But it's one of those things when I moved here, it's kind of inevitable that when you live in Wisconsin long enough, you start noticing all the birds, especially when it is kind of this time, like coming out of winter into spring. And you're kind of like, wow, that guy's cool looking. You're like, oh, I haven't seen that one
Right?
before. And you become like a bird watcher. So
It's a sign of adulthood, I think. As you get
I
older,
agree.
all of a sudden one day you care about the yellow-rumped warbler.
Right? I will say I do love looking out for cardinals because they're like an omen. So I think that they're really cool to see.
soft spring. I'll do it when it presents itself. You know?
Yeah.
Nick's
Oh,
spring.
hard spring.
Okay, bro.
Big bird watching guy over there?
Yeah, I mean, you ever seen a hummingbird?
Yes, they're cool.
Make a good point.
You know what
At
I mean?
Olbrich Botanical Gardens, they have so many hummingbirds.
True.
So
That place is sweet.
if you haven't been, make your way over there.
I was so obsessed with birds when I was younger, maybe 10 to 12, that I created my own bird club with all of my cousins. And
That's precious.
I made myself president, and I called myself President Bird Brain.
I could see it. I could see all your cousins sitting there like, all right.
Is this like when you were making home videos and you would like force them to participate?
I would make everyone make like a book about it. I was obsessed with birds. I would make bird books every year.
No, that's really precious. I I really love it.
So from now on, everyone call me Bird Brain.
Already done.
Yes, Mrs. President.
Yes, Madam President.
Well, that's all I got for spring. We would love to hear your suggestions as well. Comment on the video. You can message us, follow us on the Cabin Podcast on social.
Leave us a voicemail. We want to do an episode eventually where we're just like answering your guys' questions and stuff. So that will be in the link in bio or description. Wherever you're watching or listening, it will be there. Don't worry. Jake, anything to add? You want to plug yourself? Want to plug your baseball team?
Again.
I mean, yeah, guys, Madison Muskies, the men's adult baseball league of Southern Wisconsin. We play on Sundays. I am working on like a little project for that outside of work, but I'll save that for another time. This is the Cabin Podcast.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, just keep watching the Cabin. Like, I think you guys are doing a great job. You know, I was on it with Anna and Eric for a while, and they were fantastic. I think both are kind of doing some different stuff now. But, you know, I'm really excited to see, you know, you guys take the torch from the great stuff they did for so many years and kind of take it to a new chapter. And I hope I could get invited back in the near future. But
yeah, keep an eye out for mine and Jake's Ice Age Trail. Aperba will also be on that, so another familiar face for you guys. But that is all we have for this episode of The Cabin, so we will see you guys next time.
See ya!
Ho-Chunk Gaming Wisconsin, experience the difference. Come get away and experience gaming in a whole new way. Ho-Chunk Gaming offers a range of adventure and entertainment by offering gaming excitement and relaxing accommodations all in one place. Whether it's discovering your favorite slot machine, doubling down on their tables, or rolling your luck with a throw of the dice, this will be the getaway you've been searching for. While you're there, sign up to become a free member of their rewards club to receive our special members-only discounts, promotions, and so much more. Ho-Chunk Gaming, where the grown-ups play big. Your grown-up getaway. Locations in Madison, Wisconsin Dells, Black River Falls, Nakusa, Toma, and Wittenberg. Must be 21 to gamble.
The Cabin is brought to you by Praise in the Pines. Mark your calendars for Saturday, July 19th, 2025, and prepare for a day of worship, music, and spiritual renewal in Eagle River, Wisconsin. This year's headliner is the legendary Newsboys, bringing their powerful sound and inspiring message to the Northwoods. Alongside uplifting music, you'll experience dynamic teaching, personal testimonies of faith, and a powerful sense of community unity. Whether you're seeking encouragement or simply an incredible day of worship, Praise in the Pines is the place to be. Get your tickets now at praiseinthepines.org.
All right, guys, and we are back with a behind-the-scenes little view of what's coming out as season 38 of Discover Wisconsin, and we are so excited to be sitting here with a very familiar face, Josh Osterman. Thanks
Hello,
for joining us in the cabin.
Hello, Josh. Nice to see you.
Yeah. Look at the digs, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Looking good.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's give a little behind the scenes. We have this newest episode, ATV Adventurelands, hosted and produced by Lindsay Hayes, who couldn't be here today, but you are a great fill-in.
So we were really excited about this one because in Discover Wisconsin, we show a lot of silent sports and we show a lot of motorsports. And of late, with the questionable winter weather that we've had, the snowmobiling in this state it's took a hit.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of these areas in the state have really started to develop ATV, UTV routes. And that's something that we've showed in episodes before, but this is one where it was like, let's make the whole episode all about, ATV, UTV exploration around the state. So we did 4 really cool areas that, as ATV riders, I've been on almost every one of these trails. So we're in the greater Mauston area. We go to Rice Lake, which connects to hundreds of miles of trails. And we were in Monroe in Greene County, which is on, I want to say it correctly, the Cheese County Trail, which is on an old railroad bed, which is awesome. And then, which, I don't want to call anybody out specifically for having outstanding trails, but Black River Falls is often a must stop when it comes to ATV riding in the state, just because of the trail systems. It's on sand. It's a lot of fun. You can also hit like dirt bikes can go on the trails down there. So all 4 locations are just awesome to go to, and they each have their own little unique stops along the way. So the episode is really cool to see that.
Yeah, and then Black River Falls, that's where the casino is too, right?
Well, there's a lot of casinos in the state, but
that's the one where it's kind of built where you can stop in with your TV.
Yeah.
That's pretty fun.
Yeah.
I've lost some money at that. It's a whole chunk. Ho-Chunk.
Yeah.
Black River
So
Falls, yeah.
what can viewers expect to see along this ride? Not to have a pun or anything.
Yeah. No, it was really neat because Lindsay was able to, and part of it was awesome because the greater Mauston area it's where Lindsay grew up. And so she was riding with like family and friends on the trails that you grew up in. So we got to see these like unique vantage points. And then each of the locations has stops at like restaurants or shops along the way. And there's one down, I think it's Bennett's Junction House that has great burgers in Greene County in Monroe. And it is when you're riding on those trails. And so I'm not a big UTV guy. I'm an ATV guy. So like I'm on top. I'm the old fashioned guy. I'm not the one where you're side by side with seat belts and the whole shoot match. But when I go on those old railroad tracks, it's like you're just putting along, and then all of a sudden, oh, there's a bar, restaurant, and then you pull right in. What we did in Rice Lake and what we did in Greater Mauston and all these different places was there was an adventure at each of the destinations that we went to. So it was shopping, it was getting off the trail to go explore. It was hiking. And in the one in Rice Lake, we also did an Ice Age trail. So you can like hike, and we had a little silent sports mixed into it. So each of them had their own little flair. It was really neat to experience.
Yeah, kind of just planning that trip for them.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
I'm excited to see, especially Lindsay too, because she is just the outdoor enthusiast here.
Oh, yeah.
She is.
Yeah.
She is.
Well, she has that background with motorsports and with Polaris. So of course she has her Polaris hat on, and they were riding Polaris, ATVs and UTVs. Each of the groups that we went with, we did a snowmobile episode that will air this next fall. And every one of the destinations that we went to, we filmed with the club that takes care of the trails and does that. So we did that this time with the ATV episode. So you get a real passionate local group that helps set up the trail systems and keeps everybody entertained and makes sure that we can actually ride the trails. And they know some of the best areas to go on the trails. And that's key because, if we're going to go film somewhere, we want to see what's your show pony, right? So it's like, we don't want to go down to an area and say like, hey, show us one of the best places to go. And then they take us around a parking lot. That's not going to work.
Well, that's one of the best parts about Discover Wisconsin is because like for hosts, we get to see the best of the best of the state.
Right.
So kind of bringing the viewers along on that journey is a really cool thing to be able to do.
Let me ask you this. Are you two jealous that you didn't get to go ATVing? UTV?
No, I did. I got to do the snowmobiling.
Oh, you did? That's right.
I'm kind of.
That's right.
I got to do a little bit of UTVing in Wood County, so I got a little taste of
We got
that.
our fix.
Yeah, I got my fix.
Yeah.
We'll leave the outdoor sports to Lindsay.
Yeah.
She did a really good job with it. There's in one of the areas, and I don't recall which, she had a dog with like the goggles and everything that rode alongside with her, and it was just putting along.
Yeah.
But it was fast action stuff and it was slow action. It was people just trail riding. And then there was another one where when you're in Black River Falls, it's called the Sand Pit. So you can go actually into this. And most of the trails in Jackson County, you can find on this Jackson County Trail Map app. So you can see where you can go and it can navigate you, which is great. But then there's this area that's called the Sand Pit, and a lot of their trails are on sand, which makes it a little bit more of a technical ride. But the Sand Pit is like you can go in and just go in circles and circles and circles and just rip around in the sand, which is a lot of fun. I've done it. But you on a warm day in the summertime, it can get a little dusty. It can cover you. But for me, I'm more of a guy that's like in Rice Lake they have a trail that's the Wild Rivers Trail that connects with all these other trail systems, and it's the longest. Once you're on it, you can go for the longest off-road trail in all of Wisconsin. So it's over 100 miles. Have you guys ever ridden 100 miles on an ATV before?
No, definitely not.
Maybe after this episode, I'll get inspired.
Well, I think you might want to lean into it just a little bit because it is, I'm about 4 hours on an ATV and then it's like, all right.
Yeah, I feel like I'd get sore.
Right. I mean, that's it for me. But, the people that are into it, they can go all day or go all weekend, really do have a great time with it. For me, I like the different, technical riding, whether you're riding on, like a nice paved trail, if you're, I shouldn't say paved trail, but nice groomed trail with gravel, then you can get off and you can ride, like a county road if the roads are open for for riders.
Yep.
And then if you can get off and go hit some of the technical, more rock climb,
Yeah.
that type of trail system, we have it all in Wisconsin, which is really cool to see.
Yeah.
And it's a great episode, and we're going to see 4 great communities that really get behind riding in the state. So we're excited about it.
Well, thank you so much for the little behind the scenes. Make sure you check it out. ATV Adventurelands, streaming April 2nd. That's going to be online and then out this weekend on broadcast. Thank you, Josh.
Yep.
Today's episode of The Cabin was hosted by Andrea Belke and Megan Christian and produced by Andrea Belke. Audio engineering by Nick Pardarella and video teasers by Andrea Belke and Megan Christian with social media by Megan Christian. The Cabin is a production brought to you by Discover MediaWorks. To learn more, head to discovermediaworks.com. And don't forget to leave a review.